The pounding sound of consternation at will as I let the words spill from the furthest crevices of my soul. It was as though I had to let the whole world know that hell mouth had opened whole to the roots of our dreams. Thus realization was no more to charm our reels of what to be. No longer could I let my imagination stand for me, the amicable calm in a stance as a referee. To swim in doubt is not meant for me, or for you, or any. To look beyond the great valley, see the shadows awaiting my fall. The universe knows I've been on a tumbling journey, yearning, while in attempt to discern what I wanted for me, though never let learning for what to seek. Has not yet gained the ability to see as I wait in displeased, uneased, falter betwixt the chaos and vulnerability, checking for myself, for only I could save me. Hello everyone, welcome back to Poetry Journal Podcast. I am your host, Alex Murdoch. I hope everyone's doing well. And what you just heard there is just what I wanted to share today. The piece I created that I wanted to share today. And you know, recently I've been going through a journey of like, I don't know, I guess it's just a thing where I just wanted to have fun with creation in a sense. And sometimes it happens where, you know, I go through a phase where I just want to have fun with it. And then I have other times where, you know, I just want to write things that are like profound or like, you know, I hold in great regards or in depth with what I hold as great value to myself or great value to the world and stuff like that. And I guess in this case you should be able to tell that, you know, I just wanted to create something a bit more something real, you know, speak about something real. And this was apropos to, well, in my opinion, this was apropos to the what I was trying to do for today or on this occasion in terms of like creating, you know, and all in aim of like, you know, just putting it out there and let the words speak, you know, sort of thing. With this piece, it was me just kind of coming from a place. Well, let's start like this. It's my inspiration behind this. Well, truth be told, this piece was called Elusive Dreams, and as I mentioned before, you know, my titles usually they kind of give context on, you know, what I speak about in the pieces I create. And in this case, you know, we're speaking about dreams or like things that perhaps at one point of your life it sort of eludes you. And I think in my case, you know, I grew up for a long time trying to figure what was that thing, what was that spark about me, or that's something that I would love to share with the world, or like something that's for me, you know, that I could hold dear and say, okay, this is something that I find special and I want to do this. It's a gift and I want to share, not only share, but something to hold on to for the rest of my life. Or like, this is something to make me wake up every morning like feeling happy about life, kind of thing. You know, as they say, everyday life, you know, you want a career, not necessarily a job. And so this was my question for a long time. And so, you know, it's kind of like, yeah, what was my dream? And I think it speaks to, I think everybody can relate to this. Well, a lot of people, I would say, can relate to this in a sense of like, you know, you go through a phase of your life, well, I did at least, where like, you know, you didn't really know what was for you, or like what didn't necessarily, well, yeah, it eludes you, and you know, you spent a lot of time trying to figure it out, trying to think, trying to split hairs in a sense to try and figure out, you know, what was that thing for you. And so this kind of speaks to that, because a long time, I think only into my mid 20s, late 20s, I really kind of like solidified myself, the information in my mind, or like the confirmation in my mind that, okay, this is what I wanted to do for the rest of my life, and this is what I'm going to almost dedicate myself for the rest of my life. And let me give a bit of context, you know, before, well, let me finish this thought first. And what I'm speaking about is pretty much what I do now, in terms of like being a creator, being a writer, the foremost, and being a poet, creating stories, fiction stories. But you know, these things are like, I didn't really know what that was for me, you know, and now this has become like the exact thing that I realized that was for me, and something that I wanted to do for the rest of my life, and I had great amount of passion for it, you know. And this is just one of those things I think a lot of people growing up being eluded by, and so, you know, I thought it was appropriate. But you know, I realized as well that, you know, I got lucky in a sense where or I was fortunate in a sense where, before this stage of my life where I started asking these questions, well, first and foremost, I didn't know to ask these questions, but when I did, before I started to ask these questions, as many of you who's been listening for a long time, you know, I was more dedicated to being a sportsman, specifically for a long time now, athletics. So, you know, that was my thing, sprinting 100 meters, that was my suppose, lack of a better word, claim to fame, in the sense of saying like, oh man, this is something that I know I can do on a level that I can say that, you know what, and I have a passion for it to the point where I love this, and it would make me wake up every morning trying to, you know, do this on a level all the time. And for a long time, it you know, it's funny because I say this and it's like, I still feel that way about it, in the sense of like there's still a place for it. It's just not a priority in that sense anymore. But I still enjoy when I do have time to kind of like, you know, train. And I think everybody in life should have that go-to exercise or thing that they can, even just going to the gym. I would encourage people to find that routine or something just to kind of keep yourself, you know, in a healthy space from a physical perspective. But as you know, as a sportsman life it's a short window. So I suppose I'm saying, like, even if that was the case, you know, you still want to have something beyond that, like in sense of like a career, something that you can turn to and be like, I can be just as enthusiastic with this than I have been with whatever I was kind of chasing or trying to do for myself in the past. And so this is where I come from with it. And so but in essence, this piece, it just speaks to the elusiveness of this whole idea of where I'm looking at it, or how I'm looking at it, or where I'm looking at it from perspective wise, and saying, man, like, you know, I didn't really have that advanced idea or any idea of what it was that I wanted to do. But the funny thing was, and you know, I guess you could kind of call it, it's sort of generic in a sense, where you know, it was always there. You just never noticed. When I really discovered that, you know what, this is what I wanted, you know, to do. And I say that to say that I've been writing for a long time. I just never took it serious, or I never really saw it. I just saw it as, you know, a hobby or something that to pass time, or like a distraction or something in my spare time. And I would just use it to just create on occasions, you know, just have fun with it. And I think to an extent, especially I would say, I say a lot of writers, but especially poets, I've gotten to understand that, you know, the typical poet, what they do is, what we do is just like, you know, you write a lot of creation, and typically I find most poets normally create love poetry. You usually start with, like, you know, just creating love poetry, and as you grow, as you mature, as you get to know yourself, as you master your craft, then it's almost like the world is your oyster. You create about anything, because you create about anything. And I suppose that's kind of like where I've reached in my life, where my poetry, yes, love poetry here and there, but for the most part my poetry is derived, as I've always said, from my life experiences, my lifestyle, whatever, or just, you know, whatever is going on in my life at the time. And so I guess what I'm saying is, it's just I've grown to be somebody that's so well versed in creativity, in terms of like, my poetry is so diverse in terms of topics. You might find it, yeah, love poetry is just here and there. It's not like the base of my creation like it was, when I was a teenager, or like specifically I would say my first book, Poetry Journal, Dream, Imagine, Express, was majority love poetry. But there were still like profound thoughts in between that about different topics here and there. Yeah, you have, a few profound topics here and there, but for the most part, love poetry. But now it's kind of like, but now you go to like my other book after that, Growing Pains, Poetry Journal, Growing Pains, and that is just, it's just a different level. And I'm very proud of that book, by the way. I must say that, man, it's just some profound thoughts into that book. And I remember when I was putting it together, I was just like, man, all I could think in my head was just, I could see so much growth in my work and who I am. And yeah, I just the writing, it was just fun putting it together, because I'm just like, of course I'm checking everything is, crossing my I's, dotting my T's, checking everything is fine. But at the same time, I'm looking at it and I'm just like, I'm really just enjoying the work myself. I could literally sit down and read this book myself, in a sense. And that was, I think that was really a profound thing to realize that, you know what, I actually enjoy reading what I'm actually giving people to read. And I think that's the first sign that, you know what, you are putting something out there that is worth paying attention to. It's worth reading, listening to. And so, over the years now, to where I'm at, where like I can go on stage and I can really project exactly what I've created on paper, or where I was, what was my viewpoint, or how did I feel, what was my temperament, when I did this whole situation of when I created this piece. Where was I? Where was I? And I just feel like, man, it's just it's eluded me for so long that, and now it's almost like I've kind of realized where I'm at, who I am, and the journey I'm on. You know what I mean? And of course, it's not perfect. We're not at the pinnacle of where we need to be, etc., etc. But I've also learned that it's not necessarily the end point. It's the journey. It's the journey that is the most important part of anything that you embark on, in terms of like we're speaking about right now, in terms of like a career or a dream turned career, so to speak, whatever it is. Yeah, so I guess I would say it's been an interesting, it's been very interesting journey to get to the point where I'm at right now, especially. Man, it's been such an intrigue to develop, and to find yourself in the space that you're in, which I'm forever grateful by, for sure. So it's just a special time in that sense when I think about what I'm doing and what's to come, also the potential, because this is my lifestyle, so I create all the time. So it's kind of like, consequently, I have so much stuff to put out. consequently to that, I'm actually cooking up something as we speak. Now, obviously, I haven't set a date or anything like that, but I'm just talking about just the mere idea of just planning, in a sense, the mere idea of like what it's going to be in terms of like the name, you know, how I want it to be, the necessary themes involved, etc. But more than anything, the title of it, which I think is it's going to be relative, and it's going to be something everybody can kind of relate back to me, relate to also, you know. It's going to be interesting, so I'm looking forward to that, and looking forward to sharing with people that are supporters of my work, and people that are looking to kind of get to know me a bit better, and you know, seeing what I have out there, and what I'm about and what I'm doing. So, you know, it's been a special time in the life of Alex Murdoch as far as creativity is concerned, and continues to be. You know, I love what I do, and what I do appears to love me. So I guess the message I would leave you with is, you are what you think. And I would say focus on what you want, and focus on what you want to be. Don't allow your thoughts to control you. Control your thoughts, you know. I think it's very important. You are what you think, so therefore whatever you consistently ponder on will become your environment. Your world around you will be what you see. So think carefully, ponder your thoughts carefully, and thanks everyone for listening. Till next time, take care. Alex.